Miss Turner's class. You need help with homework? It's Miss Turner's class. I got you. It's Miss Turner's class. What about if you didn't understand something in class? It's Miss Turner's class. I got you.
Hey you guys, and welcome back to yet another video. In today's video, we are focusing on Module 2, Lesson 6, where we still will be multiplying and using discs and using unit form in order to multiply larger numbers. So as an example from our previous video, 8 times 200s is the same thing as saying 8 groups of 200s, and it's just an easier way for us to multiply. We're going to be using the same concept in order to multiply 20 times 40. So this time, y'all, we have 2 10s times 4 10s. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make this number smaller to work with, and we're going to multiply 2 10s times 4, which is the same thing as saying 4 groups of 2 10s. So if I have 4 groups of 2 10s, that means I'm going to need to drag over 4 groups of 2 10s to my tens place, and then I will be able to multiply by 10. So when I multiply if I multiply 4 groups of 2 10s by 10, that means that means I'm moving literally all of my groups over to the hundreds place. How many hundreds do I now have? Yeah, 8 hundreds. So all of these different ways that we're multiplying 2 10s times 4 and then times 10, or even 20 times 4 times 10, they'll all get us to that final product of 800. We're also going to be using the area model in order to express the same problem. So the area model is we're going to represent 20 times 40. I know that my first number is going to go on the left-hand side of my area model. And this looks pretty familiar, you guys, to when we were working with area, where we had our length and we had our width, right? And all we're going to do is multiply. So 2 10s times 4 10s, or 20 times 40, equals how many hundreds? Yes, 800s, or 800. What about this one? 30 times 40. Remember, my first number goes on my on the left-hand side, and my second number goes on the right-hand side. So 30 times 40, or 3 10s times 4 10s, equals how many hundreds? Good, it equals 12 hundreds. And how would I write 12 hundreds in standard form? What do you guys think? Yep, it equals 120 in standard form. All right, what about this one? 20 times 50. So 20 on my left, 50 on my top. 2 10s times 5 10s equals how many hundreds? So I guess you guys have caught on by now that all we're doing is simply multiplying our base numbers and then looking at the place value that we are adding at the very end. So 2 10s times 5 10s equals how many hundreds? Good. 10 hundreds, which is the same thing as saying what? If I have 10 hundreds, 10 $100 bills, how much money do I have? Yes, good. 1,000. All right, team. So now that we've multiplied by using place value discs, area model, and an area model, now we're going to rewrite numbers in unit form. And then we're also going to solve them. All right, so if I'm looking at A, I have 20 times 20, which is the same thing as saying 2 tens times 2 tens. So let's start with our bottom fill in the blank first. 2 tens times 2 tens. Remember, you're looking at your base numbers and then you're going to be determining your unit afterwards, or your place value afterwards. So 2 times 2. Good. 4. So 2 tens times 2 tens equals 4 hundreds. We already know that the way we write 4 hundreds is 400. What about this one? 60 times 20 equals 6 tens times 2 what? Yes, 2 tens. 6 tens times 2 tens equals how many hundreds? Good, 12 hundreds. And how would we write 12 hundreds in standard form? Good, 120. All right, team, now you're catching on. What about this one? And this is going to be our last one. Let's rewrite this equation in unit form. 70 times 20. Same as before, we have blank tens times blank tens. What will go on my first blank? How many tens are in the number 70? Good, 7. And how many tens are in the number 20? Good, 2. So now I have 7 tens times 2 tens equals 14 tens? That can't be right. What place value would I end in if I'm multiplying 7 tens times 2 tens? Good, yes, hundreds. So 14 hundreds, how would I write 14 hundreds in standard form? Good job, 140. All right, what about this last one? 70 times 30 equals blank. Same as before, we're going to start our number in unit form, and then that way it'll make it easier to figure out our final product. 70 times 30. Let's start with 70. How many tens are in the number 70? Good, 7. So I have 7 tens. How many tens are in the number 30? Good, times 3 tens equals blank hundreds. 7 tens times 3 tens equals how many hundreds? What do you think? Yeah, I agree, 21 hundreds. And how do you write 21 hundreds in standard form? Good, 210. Fantastic job, you guys. Until next time.